Everyone wants to be great. Everyone dreams of being the best at something. The best in business, the best in leadership, the best in relationships, the best in life. But greatness doesn't show up just because you want it. It shows up because you worked for it, fought for it, and became someone worthy of it. Being the best is not about competition. It's about transformation. You don't become the best by beating others. You become the best by beating the version of yourself that refuses to grow if you want to be the best at anything. The first thing you have to master is your mind, because if your thoughts are not strong, your skills will never be. The battlefield is not outside of you, it's within you. Before you master the skill, you must master the self. You can't expect to rise if your mind keeps pulling you back into fear, comparison, and doubt. The mind of a champion is not built overnight. It's built in silence, through self-discipline, through meditation, through the quiet decisions that no one sees. The moment you decide that your mind will no longer be your enemy, that's the day your excellence begins. The second key is to understand that mastery is not about instant perfection, it's about consistent growth. Too many people quit because they don't see results fast enough. But if you sow a seed today, you don't get fruit tomorrow. You have to water it, nurture it, and protect it from weeds. Every single day you train, you learn, you fail, you get back up. That's growth. The best don't practice until they get it right. They practice until they can't get it wrong. Greatness is built in the repetition, in the routine, in the small, uncelebrated moments when no one is watching. You also have to study the masters, not the masses. Most people follow trends, but those who become great follow principles. If you study those who have achieved mastery, you'll notice something. They think differently. They don't chase applause. They chase accuracy. They don't seek validation, they seek value. You don't have to copy what they do. You have to understand why they do it. Once you understand their mindset, you can build your own path to excellence. Don't waste time comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Learn from them, but write your own story. Every journey to mastery comes with pressure. Pressure to perform, pressure to improve, pressure to prove yourself. But pressure is not punishment, it's preparation. Diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is refined through fire. The challenges you face are not there to break you. They are there to shape you. You cannot grow in comfort. Every time life turns up the heat, it's giving you a chance to reveal your strength. Stop running from pressure and start running with it. Let it stretch you. Let it teach you. Let it build in you the resilience that separates the average from the extraordinary. To be the best at anything, you must also outwork your limitations. You don't overcome weakness by wishing. You overcome it by working. The only thing standing between you and mastery is effort. People who say, I can't, usually mean I won't. The truth is, the ceiling above you is made of excuses. Every time you push through exhaustion, every time you study one more hour, every time you practice one more time, you're telling your limitations, you don't control me. The best are not born that way. They're built through persistence, through struggle, through the decision to keep showing up when quitting feels easier. But here's a secret. Being the best is not about talent alone. It's about purpose. Performance will make you successful, but purpose will make you significant. When you serve with intention, when you use your skill to uplift others, when your focus shifts from self to service, that's when your gift multiplies. You stop chasing success and start attracting it because the universe responds to contribution. The best are not remembered for what they achieved. They're remembered for what they gave. If you truly want to become the best at anything, you must learn to align your vision, your values, and your habits. Vision gives you direction. Values give you discipline, and habits give you consistency. Success is not about doing big things once. It's about doing the right things daily. Excellence is not an act. It's a pattern. It's not luck. It's alignment. Every decision you make is either moving you closer to mastery or pulling you away from it. Be patient with your progress. There is no shortcut to greatness. The road to mastery is paved with mistakes, failure, and long nights of practice. But that's where the best are forged. Every setback is a setup for your next level. Every delay is developing something in you. Don't despise small beginnings. They're preparing you for great endings. So decide today that you won't just participate in life, you'll dominate your lane. Don't just dream about being the best. Discipline yourself to become it. Work on your craft when others are distracted. Invest in your growth when others are comfortable. Speak vision when others speak fear. Because the truth is, the best are not chosen. They're crafted through faith, through focus, through fierce determination. You don't become the best overnight. You become the best over time through consistency, character, and courage. And when you finally reach that level, when you look back at the journey, we'll realize something powerful. It was never about being better than others. It was about becoming the best version of you. That's what true greatness is. Before you can ever master a skill, you must first master your mind. Because everything you do on the outside begins with what you believe on the inside. You can't win in the world if you're losing in your thoughts. Every dream, every plan, every level of success starts in the mind. Not in your hands, not in your bank account, not in your connections, but in your mindset. The truth is, your mind is the factory where your future is built. And if that factory is full of fear, doubt, or limitation, then everything you produce will reflect it. You can have the talent, the opportunity, and the potential, but if your mind is weak, your results will always be small. That's why most people never reach mastery. They don't lose to failure, they lose to fear. They don't lose to the competition. They lose to confusion. They don't lose to lack of opportunity. They lose to lack of focus. Your thoughts can either be the foundation of your greatness or the prison that keeps you trapped in mediocrity. If you want to master your craft, you have to first build mental discipline. You have to control what enters your mind, what stays there, and what you allow to influence your belief system, because whatever dominates your mind will eventually dominate your life. You can't expect to produce excellence with a mindset built on excuses. You can't grow when your thoughts are constantly shrinking. A weak mind will always sabotage a strong vision. Every master once faced mental resistance. They had moments where they doubted themselves, moments when it seemed impossible, moments when the voices in their head told them to quit. But instead of listening to fear, they decided to train their thoughts like a muscle. They replaced negative patterns with empowering beliefs. They stopped feeding their fears and started feeding their faith. That's how mental mastery begins, by becoming aware of the thoughts that weaken you and intentionally replacing them with thoughts that strengthen you. The world is noisy, and that noise wants to distract you. Social media wants your attention, failure wants your focus, and fear wants your energy, but the mind that is trained can filter out the noise and stay locked in on purpose. You must guard your thoughts the same way a king guards his throne, because your mind rules everything else. When your mind is steady, your emotions follow, your actions follow, and your results follow. So before you spend hours mastering your skill, spend time mastering your mindset, because skill without belief is wasted potential. You can know what to do, but if you don't believe you can do it, you'll never take the action required to prove it. Mastery begins when you stop doubting your ability and start developing your mentality. Train your mind to think abundance when others think lack. Train your mind to see opportunity where others see obstacles. Train your mind to stay calm under pressure, focused in chaos, and faithful in delay. Because when your mind is strong, nothing external can shake your foundation. That's when mastery begins, not when your skill is sharp, but when your belief is unbreakable. Perfection is an illusion that keeps most people from ever starting. Growth is the truth that transforms those who stay committed. If you want to become the best at anything, you have to shift your focus from trying to be perfect right now to becoming better every single day. You don't need to get it all right today. You just need to keep getting better, because greatness doesn't reward the one who starts fast. It rewards the one who stays faithful. So many people sabotage their own success because they chase perfection instead of progress. They compare their beginning to someone else's mastery. They see someone winning and forget that person spent years in the dark refining their craft, failing in private, and practicing when no one was clapping. You can't expect to reap in public what you haven't planted in private. Growth is not glamorous. It's the unseen work, the late nights, the early mornings, the moments of doubt where you still choose to move forward. Consistent growth means doing something daily that aligns with your destiny, even when you don't feel like it. It's about discipline, not desire. Discipline says, I'll do it whether I feel motivated or not. Desire says, I'll do it only when it feels easy. If you live by desire, you'll quit when it's uncomfortable. But if you live by discipline, you'll keep going until it becomes natural. Every small improvement compounds over time. 1 degree of growth every day turns into transformation over a year. When you focus on consistent growth, failure stops being your enemy and becomes your teacher. You realize that every mistake is feedback, every delay is development, and every setback is simply set up in disguise. you stop judging yourself for not being perfect and start thanking the process for making you stronger. Perfection demands that you arrive. Growth invites you to evolve. Real growth requires patience. Seeds don't sprout the same day they're planted. You have to give time for your roots to take hold. Too many people uproot their potential because they can't stand waiting for results. But remember, just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. The best results often grow underground before they ever show above the surface. Keep watering your gift. Keep investing in your mind. Keep learning. Keep failing forward. There's something powerful about a person who doesn't quit. The world notices consistency more than talent. People admire perfection for a moment, but they respect persistence forever. You don't need to prove how perfect you are. You need to show how committed you are. Commitment creates momentum, and momentum creates mastery. So stop chasing the finish line and start embracing the journey. You are not behind. You are becoming every day you choose growth. You're building the kind of foundation that perfection can never give you. The best version of you isn't the flawless one. It's the one that never stops improving. When you fall, get up. When you fail, learn. When you're tired, rest, but don't quit, because consistent growth will take you places instant perfection never could. If you want to rise above average, you can't think like the average. You can't act like the crowd and expect to become a master. Mastery is not found in imitation. It's found in revelation. You don't become great by copying what everyone else is doing. You become great by learning how the greats think, how they move, and how they make decisions. There's a difference between studying someone's formula and copying their format. One teaches you wisdom, the other traps you in limitation. The masses look for shortcuts, but masters look for principles. The masses want applause, but masters want accuracy. The masses focus on looking successful, but the masters focus on becoming valuable. When you study the masters, don't study their results. Study their mindset. Study how they handled failure, how they managed pressure, how they stayed disciplined when no one believed in them. Because what separates a master from the crowd is not talent, it's thought. Every master you admire started as a student who refused to settle for surface level understanding. They didn't just repeat what others did, they questioned why it worked. They weren't satisfied with memorizing techniques, they sought to understand truth. And when you understand the principle behind the practice, you can innovate, you can take what's timeless and make it your own. That's how new masters are born. Not from copying what was done, but from building upon what's been discovered. When you follow the crowd, you disappear in it. When you study the masters, you stand out. Most people want to fit in because fitting in feels safe, but fitting in never produces greatness. Masters don't fear being different. They embrace it. They understand that excellence often looks strange to the ordinary. If your vision makes you look crazy to people who've settled for mediocrity, you're probably headed in the right direction. Studying the masters also keeps you humble. It reminds you that mastery is not a destination, it's a lifetime commitment to growth. You'll realize that even those you look up to never stop learning. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you start declining. Masters stay teachable. They keep sharpening their skills, deepening their understanding, and expanding their perspective, because wisdom is not something you achieve. It's something you pursue daily. When you study greatness, you start to recognize patterns. Consistency, discipline, humility, and service. You'll see that true mastery is not about being better than others. It's about being faithful with what's in your hands. The masters don't compete to win against others. They compete to win against yesterday's version of themselves. Don't just watch how they perform. Pay attention to how they think, how they prepare, how they recover, how they speak. The more you study their principles, the more you'll discover that mastery is not exclusive. It's available to anyone willing to commit to excellence. So learn from those who've gone before you, but don't become a replica. Let their wisdom be your foundation, but build your own design. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your originality, your voice, your version of excellence. That's how you honor the masters. Not by imitating their path, but by blazing your own. Pressure is not the enemy of greatness. It's the birthplace of it. Every person who ever achieved mastery, success, or influence had to face moments of pressure that could have crushed them. But instead of running from it, they learned to use it. Pressure has two purposes: It can either break you down or build you up. The outcome depends on how you choose to respond. You can let it weaken your confidence, or you can let it strengthen your character. When life tightens around you, when everything feels heavy, that's not a sign to quit. That's a sign that growth is taking place. Pressure reveals what's inside you. Just like a diamond forms under intense heat and compression, your greatness is revealed in the seasons where you feel the most resistance. The weight you're under is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to develop you. You can't become strong without struggle, and you can't carry greatness if you can't handle pressure. Most people pray for success, but reject the pressure that comes with it. They want the stage, but not the stretching. They want the reward, but not the refinement. But pressure is the price of promotion. It prepares you for the weight of what you've been asking for when you're under pressure. Don't complain, interpret it correctly. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Start saying, what is this preparing me for? Pressure teaches focus. It forces you to prioritize what truly matters. When life applies pressure, the unnecessary falls away. You stop entertaining distractions. You stop chasing approval. You learn to stand firm on purpose. Pressure has a way of stripping away weakness and revealing strength you didn't know you had. Every test you pass under pressure makes you more durable, more resilient, and more ready for the next level. There will be moments when you feel like you can't handle what's coming against you. But that's exactly when power is being produced. Power is not born in comfort. Comfort keeps you average. Pressure pulls you into purpose. When you face resistance, it means you're moving. Airplanes only take off against the wind, not with it. Likewise, your progress will often come with pushback. But if you keep your faith strong and your focus clear, pressure will propel you forward instead of holding you back. Sometimes the greatest power comes from what tried to crush you. The heartbreak, the rejection, the disappointment, all of it can be turned into fuel. The same fire that burns straw refines gold. It's not the pressure that determines the outcome, it's your response. You can choose to crumble under it, or you can choose to rise above it. So when you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself that pressure means purpose is near. Don't run from it, work through it, don't despise it, develop under it. Because the people who learn how to stay calm, consistent, and committed under pressure are the ones who end up leading, influencing, and excelling. The weight you carry today is shaping the warrior you'll become tomorrow. Let the pressure refine your patience, sharpen your focus, and increase your capacity. Turn your pain into power, your stress into strength, and your struggle into strategy. Because when you learn to turn pressure into power, nothing in life can stop your progress. Not fear, not failure, not even fatigue. You become unstoppable. Your limitations are not life sentences. They're invitations to rise higher. Every person who ever became great faced limitations, physical, emotional, financial, or situational. But the difference between those who stay stuck and those who succeed is simple. The successful ones decided to outwork their limitations. They refused to let excuses define their destiny. They understood that the only real limit that exists is the one you stop fighting against. Most people see their limits and quit. Champions see their limits and get curious. They ask, how can I push past this? How can I grow through this? The truth is, you'll never know how strong you really are until strength is your only option. Limitations are not there to show you how weak you are. They're there to show you what's possible. When you give everything you've got, you may not be the most talented, the most educated, or the most experienced, but you can always be the most committed. You can always choose effort over excuses. Effort is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you started. It only cares how much you're willing to give. You can't control your background, but you can control your grind. You can't control your genetics, but you can control your growth. Every time you show up when it's hard, every time you give more when it feels like you have nothing left, you are expanding your capacity. The body grows stronger under resistance, and so does the spirit. Outworking your limitations means refusing to accept I can't as your truth. It means proving to yourself that your best isn't behind you. It's still being built. Some people talk about what they could have done. Others are busy doing it. The ones who win are not the ones with the fewest obstacles. They're the ones who turn obstacles into opportunities. Every limitation you face is a chance to build endurance, creativity, and resilience. There's power in persistence. The more you work, the more your weaknesses transform into strength. The more you push, the more your confidence grows. And eventually, the limits that once scared you become the boundaries you've already conquered. Every rep, every late night, every hour of practice is proof that you've decided your destiny will not be defined by limitation, but by determination. The truth is, life will always test your will. It will put you in situations where it feels impossible to move forward. But the moment you decide to push one step further than your comfort zone, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for the perfect condition and start creating your own. You stop wishing for strength and start building it. You stop being controlled by your limits and start controlling your effort. So don't let your circumstances dictate your consistency. Don't let the limits you see make you forget the power that's inside you. You've come too far to stop now. Keep showing up. Keep grinding, keep stretching yourself beyond what feels safe, because the more you outwork your limitations, the smaller they become and the stronger you rise. At the end of the day, your limitations are not meant to imprison you, they're meant to inspire you. Let them remind you of what's possible when you refuse to quit, because when you decide to outwork your limitations, you stop living at the level of your excuses and start living at the level of your potential. And that's where true greatness begins. Performance impresses people, but purpose impacts them. When you live only for performance, everything you do becomes about proving something, proving your worth, proving your skill, proving your value. But when you live with purpose, everything you do becomes about improving something, improving lives, improving the world, improving what's been entrusted to you. There's a huge difference between performing to be seen and serving to make a difference. One seeks attention, the other creates transformation. Performance alone is shallow because it's built on how others perceive you. Purpose runs deep because it's built on who you were created to be. When you operate from purpose, your work stops being a job and starts becoming a calling. You don't just show up to complete tasks. You show up to create change. You're not chasing applause, you're pursuing alignment. You're not motivated by recognition, you're driven by responsibility. Purpose gives meaning to the mundane. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary impact. The problem is, most people get stuck performing for approval. They want validation, not transformation. They measure success by how many people notice them instead of how many people grow because of them. But performance fades the moment the lights go out. Purpose continues when no one's watching. That's why those who serve with purpose always outlast those who perform for praise. They're not motivated by external rewards. They're anchored by internal conviction. When you serve with purpose, you stop asking, what can I get from this? And start asking, what can I give through this? That mindset shift changes everything. It changes how you lead, how you work, how you love, how you live, because now every action carries meaning. You're no longer hustling to prove your value. You're expressing it. You're no longer fighting for a platform. You're building one that lifts others. Purpose-driven people don't need the spotlight, but they often end up in it because their excellence speaks louder than their ego. They do everything with intention, with integrity, with impact. They don't chase money, they attract it through the value they create. They don't chase recognition, they earn it by serving faithfully. Purpose is magnetic. It draws opportunities, people, and results because it carries authenticity. The truth is, performance without purpose will eventually leave you empty. You can win the awards, get the titles, and still feel unfulfilled. But when you live and work with purpose, even the smallest victories feel meaningful because purpose gives you peace. It keeps you grounded when success comes and keeps you strong when challenges rise. So whatever you do, do it with purpose. Whether you're teaching, leading, building, or creating, do it with the intention to serve. Let your work be a reflection of your gratitude. Let your effort be an act of service, not self-promotion, because when you move from performing to serving, your impact multiplies. You stop striving for success and start walking in significance. In the end, no one remembers the performance. They remember the purpose behind it. They remember how you made them feel, what you built, what you gave, and what you stood for. So don't just perform your gift, serve through it. Don't just seek to be seen, seek to make a difference. Because performance fades with applause, but purpose lives on in legacy. Becoming the best at anything is not about luck, talent, or chance. It's about commitment, consistency, and conviction. It's about mastering your mind before you master the skill. about choosing growth over perfection, about studying principles instead of copying patterns. It's about learning to turn pressure into power, to outwork every limitation, and to serve with purpose, not just performance. The journey to mastery isn't quick or easy. It's a process of transformation. Every moment of doubt, every failure, every setback is part of your training. The obstacles are not there to stop you. They're there to shape you into someone who can handle the weight of greatness. You become the best not because everything goes right, but because you stay right even when everything goes wrong, when you dedicate yourself to growing daily. You stop chasing success and start embodying it. The best don't just perform well, they live well, think well, and serve well. Their excellence isn't temporary, it's a reflection of who they've become. And when you reach that level, when your growth aligns with your purpose, your skill becomes a gift to the world. So decide today that you won't just dream about being the best. You'll become it. Train your mind, guard your habits, embrace the pressure, outwork your excuses, and serve with meaning. Because when you give your best every day, eventually you become the best. Not just in what you do, but in who you are. That's how greatness is built. Not overnight, but over time. Not by chance, but by choice. And that choice, to grow, to serve, to persevere, is what separates the average from the exceptional and the performer from the master.